Overwatch World Cup this weekend, Blizzcon, Anaheim, California, the fourth installment. Will we see a brand new champion crowned, or will it be South Korea as per usual? Jacob Wolf, Arda Ocal for ESPN Esports, here to break it all down. The first team we will focus on, however, is Team USA, because it feels, at least on paper and leading up to the Overwatch World Cup, like this could be the year. I remember talking with Sinatraa, Jacob, when the Overwatch World Cup rosters were announced, and to hear him so hype talking about the tournament, texting his teammates saying, "This is our year, you ready for this?" And them planning scrims, and just him being the regular season MVP for Overwatch League. Is it the perfect storm for Team USA to finally have a great placement in this tournament?
I expect them to do better than they have, because I do think that they have probably the best North American-born players, or the best American-born players in the league on this team. But I mean, they have some strong competition. So they've been eliminated the last 2 years in quarterfinals each time. And last year was even more sort of disappointing because it was against the UK team, which were good, to be fair. Some of them had some really, really impressive performances, so don't want to take that away. But I do think that Team USA will do better than they have the last couple of years.
And, of course, the elephant in the room is South Korea. We'll get to that in a second. They will have competition from teams we don't normally see at the Overwatch World Cup, at least at Blizzcon, because there will be over 30 teams flying to Anaheim to participate here. What have you heard from the players in terms of this new format?
I've heard a lot of concern about this format. They're going to have to, even on day 2, which is the group stages, which narrow down, the teams, even then, they have to play a ton of matches. I think it was something like 5 best-of series, which is exhausting. So I think, and then that doesn't, maybe there's tiebreakers in there too, which could make it even worse. And so I think that looking at the format, you know, you have all these teams, rather than doing the regional thing where they've traveled they've traveled in the sort of they've traveled in the early fall / late summer. They extended the Overwatch League season, and now they're doing it all in one day. So that is the Thursday part of the Overwatch World Cup where all these teams play. That's exhausting.
Yeah.
I think if you're one of the teams, if you're one of the smaller teams that didn't get an auto qualification into the group stages, you're going to have a really rough weekend ahead of you. 3 days of a ton of play.
Yeah, so
especially if you do well.
Yeah, Team USA, Canada, South Korea, France, and China are the 5 teams that got the first round bye into groups, and the other countries that are there physically will be competing for the final 5 spots in groups. What I like about this format, though, Jacob, is it lends itself so well to the underdog story, the upset story, which not just the Overwatch community, but the esports community as a whole embraces wholeheartedly. And I feel like we could definitely see that here. We don't know which country, but we definitely could see that happening.
Totally. I mean, there are countries in Europe and in South America that stick out a little bit. I think that some of those countries tend to be very competitive on the Overwatch grand scale. So I certainly could see some of those cropping up, and some of those teams sort of competing at a high level and maybe making the run to a medalist, to a top 3 finish. And so I think that from a storyline perspective, I think that there's some really good stories to tell this weekend if a team does have a breakout run like that. But I do think if I'm a player on any of those teams that has to play on Thursday, I'm going to be deadbeat tired by the time Saturday rolls around.
And then by the time Saturday rolls around, you might have to go through the juggernaut, of course, South Korea. Rookie of the Year, Hacksaw. Playoff MVP, San Francisco Shock, Choi Hyo-bin. I mean, it's a team full of stars. We all know this. It happens every year. All roads lead to SK. It seems like they just win effortlessly every single year. What's going to stop them?
I don't know if there's anything that can, right? They have Krusty, who is the San Francisco Shock coach, who every single player on that team spoke very highly about his leadership. And so not only do they have good front-end players, they have good back-end staff. And so Team South Korea, I mean, these are some of the best people in the league, or historically some of the best people in the Overwatch League. And so looking at this, you know, the one thing that's interesting is I'm hoping that the Overwatch League provides the opportunity for players to shine that don't have the opportunity to necessarily in their league, because I mean, a lot of the all South Korean rosters have a bunch of stars, some who don't get enough time to sort of show off, and so I'm hoping that sort of presents that opportunity here. But I think that Team South Korea is going to be probably unbeatable. I think, again, we will see them win at the end of the weekend. They will be holding the trophy on Saturday.
And to be fair, over 50% of the league is South Korean players, so they have a large pot in which to choose. But one of the players that had a breakout Overwatch World Cup and as a result landed in the Overwatch League was Gushua last year with the runner-up Chinese team. He's back here, and now it's a team full of Overwatch League players.
Yes.
And many of them, most of them, the most on any Overwatch League roster, are on one team, Chengdu Hunters. I find that to be interesting, and I wonder if you compare a team of stars versus a team that has scrimmed and played and traveled with each other and stayed as a cohesive unit all year round and know their colleagues' play styles inside and out. I wonder if that is the key to success against a team like South Korea. What do you make of China's chances?
Yeah, I do think that cohesion, knowing people well, that's the one interesting thing about all-star games in general, including the Overwatch World Cup, is when you get the people together, maybe you haven't played together. The Team USA has three of the San Francisco Shock, but your point to China and sort of their cohesion and playing together for an extended period of time, I do think that lends some advantages. I don't know if those players are necessarily, the Chengdu Hunters didn't do fantastic in the Overwatch League, so I don't know if they're as skilled as the South Korean players that are on Team South Korea. But I do think cohesion is something that you can benefit from coming into this, because you don't have as much practice in this environment as you do the Overwatch League environment in your normal team, but these guys do. These guys get a little bit of extra, right? So I do think that that's a big deal.
Well, everything we just said, you can throw out the window, because now we're going to talk about our obvious winners at the Overwatch World Cup, and that is Team Canada. So Jacob, tell us why Canada will be so dominant and take home the World Championship in 2019. Go.
I wish I had your glasses and the broom again, or the flag and to throw across the studio, because they're not going to win. I don't want to discredit their success. They have been a challenger for the last couple of World Cups. They have some very talented players that are Canadian, and so I do think that they will do well. Sorry, bud. Team South Korea is going to probably meet them somewhere in their path.
We're going to make a bet. We're going to make a bet. We're going to post it on social media. We're going to make a bet. If Canada doesn't win, there's going to be some sort of redemption. We'll think about it offline, but we're going to throw it up on social media.
I won the last time we made a bet in Atlanta. You had to speed eat hot dogs.
That was the worst segment we've ever done. It was terrible. But we're going to make a bet. We'll throw it up on social media. XQC, always somebody that has the spotlight on him, particularly at the Overwatch World Cup. Played in Contenders, has played in the Overwatch League in the past. He has been an MVP in the Overwatch World Cup previously as well, when Canada were runner-up against South Korea a couple years ago. What would a great tournament performance from XQC do for his Overwatch League chances next season?
So I think he doesn't want to be in the Overwatch League. There's not a lot of value proposition right now, unless there was such an exponential salary it made sense for him to forego his streaming career. Right, that's the fine balance in every esports game, is like, if I'm that popular, do I want to be a streamer or do I want to be a player? And I think it makes way more sense for him financially to stay as a streamer right now. But I do think that it will be a very exciting weekend for him, because it's been a while since you've seen him compete on a stage like that. So I think that, playing with Team Canada, I think there are going to be a lot of people that are excited to see him play. But I think that it's if he wanted to be on an Overwatch League team, I think he would be. I think someone would take that chance.
We are coming up to we are in the free agency of lucrative contracts.
And we've seen players traditionally make big names for themselves at Overwatch World Cup, or have good Overwatch World Cup performances and then get picked up by an Overwatch team. Right. I think it's possible, but he is someone that I don't see wanting to make that shift. I think he's in a pretty good spot where he is right now.
Predictions?
Ooh.
Other than Canada, of course, which is the obvious answer. Who are you predicting to come in second at the Overwatch World Cup?
I'm thinking that the final I could see being something like, I'd love to see South Korea and USA. It was such a great match 2 years ago in the quarterfinal. I don't know. I am not a betting man when it comes to the American team right now. That they have under even last year, when they had an easier bracket arguably with Team United Kingdom, they still fell through. And so I do think that they had the best roster they've had in a while. But my prediction, I actually do think the final will be a rematch of 2 years ago, and it will be South Korea and Canada. That will be the final. South Korea will win.
Which Canada will sweep, obviously.
Yeah, okay,
but
sure.
USA will medal. I'm going to make that prediction. USA will do better than they've ever done. They will. They will go to the semifinals.
I would like to see USA versus. If they can't make it to the final, I would like to see them versus one of the European teams in the third place match.
In the third place match.
So Finland, France, Sweden, one of those. One of the teams that has pretty talented and notable players on them as well.
Let us know.
That'd be good.
Let us know in the comments below which country you are supporting at the Overwatch World Cup, and also give us your prediction. Will it be South Korea taking it yet again? Do you believe in Team USA, or are you on my bandwagon and going Canada all the way? Continued coverage available at espn.com/esports.